Michael J. Androl. He was born February 7th, 1949. He served in Vietnam and in the Transportation Corps. Highest rank achieved was sergeant. The recording takes place in Scottsdale, Arizona. My name's Noah Sinekin. I'm his grandson. And this interview is being conducted for the Veterans History Project at the Library of Congress. Alright. So the interview starts. When and where were you born?
Born in Bay City, Michigan, which is the farm that I grew up on is east of Bay City, about 15 miles. And I graduated from high school in Unionville Community School in Unionville, Michigan.
What were your parents' jobs when you were a kid?
My dad worked in the foundry, and of course we had the farm, and my mother was a nurse in a mental institute.
Did you have any siblings? If so, how many?
I had a brother and a sister, younger.
Were you working prior to being drafted?
Yes.
What was your job?
I was driving a truck, and when I got out of school, I drove a truck in for a ready-mix company.
Do you have any other family members that served in the military? If so, what conflicts were they involved in?
My father hit the beach in Normandy. Was one of 4 men in his company that lived in World War II.
Wow. Alright. Were you drafted or enlisted?
Drafted.
How old were you when you were drafted?
I was almost 22.
Did you have any friends that were drafted with you, or was it just you in your town?
Just me.
How did they choose what branch of the Army you were sent to?
I really don't know. I went to the Fort Wayne in Michigan and took the physical and got shipped to Fort Knox.
Were you trained before being deployed in, where were you trained before being deployed in Vietnam?
In Fort Knox, Kentucky.
How long was the training camp at Fort Knox?
Basic training was 8 weeks, and thereafter I was assigned to a supply company, and I was made morning report clerk just through happenstance, and mail clerk because of I don't know, luck of the draw, being there at the right time.
Yeah.
Right time, right place, and ability. Had college ability. So I was the morning report clerk.
Right on. About how many people were in your bunks at Fort Knox?
How many?
Like people were in the place where
In
you
the barracks?
slept? Yeah, in the barracks.
Oh, it was company. There was 4 buildings, I think. It was 100 men, approximately 100 men.
Did any of those men serve at your place in Binh Vietnam?
I ran into one of my drill sergeants when I was over there. He was a grunt, infantry, and he came through, and I just happened to pass him on the street and got a chance to visit with him for just an hour or so. But other than that, there was no one that I knew that I went through basic with down in Fort Corps.
Could you describe the daily routine at Fort Knox while you were training?
Yeah, you got up, ran 4 or 5 miles, had breakfast, and then various learning exercises, how to shoot, certain kinds of hand-to-hand combat. A lot of PT, a lot of physical training. Just basic, get in shape, physical shape, mental shape.
Yeah.
And then
It's all good.
guard duty, kitchen police, KP,
Yeah.
things like that.
Were there any deaths at your training camp?
Deaths
Yeah.
in training?
Yeah.
No.
That's good. What was the hardest aspect of adopting a military life, such as the barracks, the food, the social life, physical work, or anything else?
Rules, very strict chain of command rules that
Any
are,
specific ones?
well, you had to take orders from the person that you were randomly assigned to because that's military life.
Yeah.
If you didn't like it, you couldn't say, take this job and shove it and go get another job. You had to
Yeah.
deal with it. So that could be tough at times.
I bet. Do you have any specific memories from your training, like any like funny like events or anything that's like memorable to you that you can recall?
Funny?
Or not fun? Yeah, anything that you remember specifically.
Nothing I'd say on the record.
Yeah. All right. Where was the base that you stayed in Vietnam?
Bin Tui, which was down in U Minh Forest on the Mekong River. Was the
Was it close to the Cambodia border then?
was maybe I want to say 100 kilometers over to the border.
Still pretty close.
But Bin Tui was a class. The boats came in and were unloaded Class 6 at Bin Tui, at Canto, and we had almost everything came in that went into the war effort came through that area, and then our transportation company, which was with 120th Transportation, shipped it to points throughout the Delta and the U Minh Forest.
Did you ever like go on one of the ships to the transport missions and stuff?
On the trucks, yeah.
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 Were your trucks ever like under attack by
Oh yeah.
the enemy?
Yeah. The road would be mined. Guys would we always sandbagged all the floorboards of the trucks to try to soften the blow when you hit a mine. You come under fire, and you had to deal with it.
Yeah.
Mostly by hitting the gas pedal and driving out of there.
Yeah. Did you ever see one of the mines hit the vehicle?
I didn't actually witness one, no, but I knew people that it happened to, and it was a pretty scary situation. We had canvas roofs on the trucks, and you just get blowed right through the canvas.
Wow.
And you'd be sitting next to your truck. Your truck would be demolished, and you'd be kind of dazed, hard on the eardrums.
Yeah. How long was the trip to Vietnam? And like, did anything like unusual happen like on the plane ride there?
Oh, we left Oakland, and we flew to Alaska, to Anchorage, and we were dressed in jungle fatigues, and it was February, so it was kind of cold.
Yeah.
And there was no causeway or gate. You just got off and went down the step and went into a building to stay warm for a couple hours, and then we got back on the plane after they got done redoing the plane. They were 707s, and then we went to Tokyo, and that was cool because we flew right over Mount Fuji.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then so we got to see that, and,
Yeah.
and then from Mount Fuji, or from Tokyo, we flew right into Benhua Air Base, Tansanot Air Base in Benhua, which is just outside of Saigon. And from there, I got immediately assigned to the 120th Transportation Company, and was transported to Ben Tui.
Interesting. Was Ben Tui ever attacked?
Oh yeah, yeah, we got attacked on the. Yeah, you know, it was getting late in the war by then. It was. Oh, I don't know. I think maybe it was more than a dozen, less than dozen times in the year I was there.
Yeah. What years were you in Vietnam?
I went over in uh, uh, February of '71 and came home in January of '72. Early February or late February, or let's see, early February and then late January. I was so it was just shy of a year.
Were you ever in active combat?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Could you explain, if you want to, any of the combats that you were in?
Now you just you're pretty scared.
Yeah.
It's all about survival.
Yeah.
It's very. It happens in the middle of the night. One of the cool things, I had a hooch that I had some chameleons on the wall, and if those chameleons would start to move in the middle of the night and scramble,
Uh-huh.
I would grab my mattress and roll on the floor because it was a good sign that there was incoming. And you know, invariably, that's you know, they'd wake you up, scrambling around on the walls in the dark, and you just roll over, and then you just grabbed your gun and went to your duty position.
Is there any specific like night that you remember, like when you
Yeah,
were under attack?
yeah. We had a Jerry Captain had just been in country for a couple of days and didn't really know the ropes yet, and we got hit, and it was acting like it was the 4th of July outside, but it wasn't the 4th of July on the calendar.
Yeah.
And we were in an ammo bunker distributing uh, materials to fight with, and we had set up a secondary perimeter. We had a concertina wire perimeter with bunkers and towers around the outside of the base. And then we set up a secondary perimeter with trucks lined up so we could put their lights on. If anybody got into what we called no man's land, they were fair game. And we were taking considerable hits, and of course a direct hit on that bunker would send you to a different place, so everybody wanted to get out of there. The captain was new to everyone and not known for his ability because he was brand new.
Yeah.
And people were somewhat leery of him, and he was somewhat emotionally shook up at the time and barked some orders and told everyone to go, and I stopped everybody to come back, and I asked each man what he was told to do, and none of them could tell me. So I made it real clear with the commander that he had to do a better job of delegating what he wanted done, and he did that and made everybody repeat it back to him. And then I spent the night fortifying the positions and crossing no man's land, which I was also a little bit distraught, and I neglected to get the password, so it was a little tough crawling across there.
Yeah, I bet.
Wondering if I was going to take friendly fire, and it turned out that no one got hurt, and we got through the night.
That's good.
And it was a pretty wild scene there for a while, and I ended up getting battlefield promotion and a job in the officers club, so it all worked out for the best.
Well, that's good at least.
Yeah.
What was the officers club like?
Oh, it was nice. We had regular parties, events where we would have entertainment, mostly Vietnamese bands, and we had nice dinners, and on a regular night we just had booze and smokes and pretty waitresses and whatever you needed. Come here.
Sorry, Mike.
Drop it. Drop it. Drop it. Go lay down.
So, like, what was the daily job of the transportation corps which you served in?
We supplied foodstuffs, ammunition, rockets, grenades, Agent Orange, fuel. We hauled jet fuel. Anything that a base camp in the surrounding area needed, we supplied to them. It was all hauled in trucks, either fuel tankers or deuce and a halfs and 5 tons, mostly 5 tons.
Were you ever affected by Agent Orange?
I don't know. I was around it, but I don't know what's affected. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know of any.
Did you see anyone or anyone that was affected by it though?
No, I never saw anybody that was burned, but we carried it.
Yeah.
Stop it. Sit. So then they say that it does have some long-term effect, but
You haven't found that yet.
Yeah, I'm not.
Thank God.
I don't know that I have any effects.
Yeah. How about your baldness? No, I'm just.
Yeah, well, there's that and pigment on my arms. There's
Minor things.
all kinds of minor things that have
not
happened
fatal.
that you don't know what caused them.
Yeah. Did you see any casualties or fatalities during combat though?
Casualties.
Could you describe any of those?
Well, that was a guy. I was we were getting hit one night, and a guy come crawling up to me, and he was all shook up, and he grabbed my belt and tried to pull himself up, and I immediately realized that there was something wrong with him. I kind of put him in a corner against the wall, and I got a medic for him, but I mean, there wasn't really much I could do.
Yeah.
He got hit, and we had a funny thing happen. We took a pretty direct hit on a hooch one night, and the mattress on one of the bunks was just shredded with shrapnel.
Wow.
And lucky for the guy that was using that bunk, he forgot to come home that night. He stayed in town, and he was not aware of any of what happened. And the next morning when he came into the gate, he was grabbed by the MPs, and they hauled him into the office in front of the old man. And the old man asked him, well, how'd you sleep last night? He says, oh man, great. Everything was great, sir. And he says, well, nothing unusual happened? He says, no, everything's fine. And he says, well, why were you outside the gate? He says, well, I got up early and I just went for a walk. So then the old man and the first sergeant took him for a walk over to his hooch and showed him his bed, which was obliterated by
Shrapnel.
shrapnel from an incoming round. and he looked at the bed, and he turned around and he looked at the old man, and he says, "Sir, can I have the day off to go back downtown?" And the CO said to him, "Well, why do you have to go back down?" He says, "I didn't even tip that whore." He says, "I gotta go back." So that was kind of a funny
Yeah.
thing that happened, and I witnessed. But
It's pretty neat though. So like if he would have been out the bed, he would have been.
he got killed.
Wow.
Instead, he was downtown.
Having fun.
Yeah.
So was it pretty common for the soldiers to go down to like go in town and just like spend the night then and
Yeah.
drink and such?
Yeah. We had an open base where you could leave, and you could even stay off base if you wanted to.
Oh wow.
The convoys, when they remained overnight in RON, what normally would happen is the guys would team up, and one night they would one guy would watch two trucks, would guard two trucks, and the other guy would go find himself some recreation for the evening. And it happened that it worked out quite well for everyone.
Did you ever find yourself downtown?
Yeah. Everybody did.
Yeah.
You know, you have to realize that you didn't know what tomorrow was going to bring.
Yeah.
So you lived life
In the
under
present.
this circumstance.
Yeah. So were the people downtown then, like the people like in town, friendly towards the American soldiers then?
If you were in a group or in a bar, don't let them catch you alone.
Why?
Well, it could get ugly. They didn't take too kindly to you. They cut you up. Take your money.
Did the Viet Cong ever like attack you guys in town or?
Well, they would on an individual basis if you were foolish enough to not be with a group.
But in a group, though, like the Viet Cong wouldn't attack or anything like that.
Well, we don't know who they were. They were people.
Yeah.
They were just people.
Yeah, people. Yeah.
You had to be careful. If you did foolish things and got drunk and stupid or high, we had two types of people: the stoners and the drinkers. There were some people that did neither, but they were rare. Mostly there was drinkers or people into the marijuana and the heroin and so forth.
Yeah.
We had both groups.
What was the way of thinking that like most soldiers had like towards the Vietnamese then?
They were looked down upon, you know.
Kind of like subhumans then, or like inferior.
People didn't trust them, so it was hard to, because you always had the feeling that by
The
daytime
enemy.
they were your friend, and at night they were trying to kill you. So
Yeah.
you had to be careful.
Yeah.
You got to realize that I was there towards the end, so it was fairly certain that most of the VC, the original VC and NBA that had been fighting in the area, had either been wounded or killed or wiped out, and there was replacements that were coming from far away. We had one situation after I was running the O Club where we flew to Saigon, 4 of us one night, just for an evening out, and we found ourselves in a bar and face to face with some Chinese officers and we all put our guns on the table and sat down. And the Chinese were well educated and well spoken, and we had a very interesting conversation with them. And they explained that they were not going to ever allow the colonization of any country on the Chinese border. That just wasn't going to happen after Korea.
Yeah.
And I believe that to be true.
Yeah. Hasn't happened, so. Can we go inside just because it's getting dark out and it's not really picking up you and the camera?
Oh, I'm supposed to be on camera? I thought it was just...
Oh, no. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Mike. I thought you knew. My teacher wants it. I'll just sit here and it should be good. So did you ever fight the Chinese in combat then, or did you ever see them in combat?
No.
No?
Nothing like that. You gotta remember that the last 5 months I ran the officers club, and if things I didn't have to go out. The last 5 months I didn't have to go out. When we'd get hit, I would just lock the door and
stay inside.
Have a party.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you have any contact with your family and friends back home though, such as like letters or anything like that?
Oh, constantly, yeah.
Did the
My
Army...
mother used to send me cookies.
Really?
Packed in popcorn. It was great.
That's amazing. Was there any popcorn in Vietnam, or is that
Oh yeah.
rationed out?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did the Army censor any of your like letters though?
No, I don't think so.
No?
I wouldn't think no.
How long would it take for the letters to send?
3-4 weeks.
3-4 weeks. So that's not too bad.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
You got to remember it was early 70s.
Yeah.
And I wasn't out I was in a main base camp. I wasn't out in the boonies. So.
Yeah. Was there any difference between the Chinese and Vietnamese, like fighting style or like style and methods, or like was it just the same?
Oh,
No.
We didn't know who we were fighting. We were just
Yeah.
fighting. You didn't
Pay attention.
You didn't. Most of it was done with rockets and
Yeah.
mortars, and there was some close range fire, but
Just
where I was, that was pretty scarce.
that's good for you. That's good though.
Yeah.
Keeps you safe.
Yeah.
When the war ended, were you back at home then?
Yeah. I came back to Oakland through Guam, and it was 20 some hours from the time I landed to I was on a plane home to Michigan. I was out. I was done. Got my muster and all paid.
Yeah.
I was gone.
How did you feel when the war ended? Were you just ecstatic that it was?
Well, I was just glad to get back home.
Yeah.
Went shop for a new car. Had a lot of money. And,
Did the Army pay you then to go?
they owed me a bunch of back pay, and that made it nice when I got home.
Yeah. Did you see your family once you got home then and call them up or?
Yeah.
Talk to them?
Yeah. Went home.
How did your family receive you? Because I know many veterans from Vietnam were like spit upon and like.
Your family
abused.
was fine.
How about your friends or like your community at home?
The community that I came from wasn't too bad, but the cities, it was tough in the cities.
Really?
You'd run into pockets of people that were very anti-soldiers,
Yeah.
anti-Vietnam. There was just a stigma on a soldier because a lot of the press that the people didn't really understand what people went through.
Yeah.
So you just that was it. You didn't.
Yeah.
There was nothing you could do about it. They had their beliefs, and it wasn't going to change them. So
Yeah.
why get in an argument over it? You're not going to change them, and they didn't know.
Yeah. Were there any like journalists in Vietnam like at your like at Ben Cui?
Yeah, yeah.
Were they ignoring or like bothering you?
No, they didn't pay any attention to me.
Really?
They were more interested in out in
Combat.
the combat areas.
Yeah. Was adjusting to like life back home like tough for you after being like used to like the military life and rules and stuff?
It was you were edgy because you if you heard a gunshot or you were just edgy for a while. It took a while, but I was okay.
Have you kept in contact with any of the veterans that you served with in Vietnam?
No, not really. Never got too close to anybody because once I moved to the officers club, I didn't see those guys at all anymore.
Yeah.
And you really didn't want to get close to people that were going to get blown up.
Yeah.
You just
let me know before you go, because I don't want to bug you guys, so I'm going to go back here and turn on the TV.
When you got home, did you go to the VA or?
No, I've never done that. I figured it was better. I was fortunate to have a nice healthcare policy, and in the VA, they were shorthanded, and they didn't. People had to sit and wait a long time, so it was my experience that 2 or 3 times that I thought about it and went and saw the lineups. And then my father was a Vietnam or a World War II vet, so I would take him and we'd have to sit there for hours. So I just decided I would rather use my Blue Cross insurance and go through. So I really haven't had any personal experience with the VA medical system, although my father did, and I was a witness to that, and he actually passed away at a VA hospital, and he received what I thought was good care, but you had to wait, constantly waited for a long period of time to see a doctor or get your meds or things of that nature.
Yeah. Did you know anyone that experienced like Agent Orange or PTSD that was like extreme or anything, like when they got home or during Vietnam even?
You know, I know some people that were really strange. Can I say it was because of the war? I think they were kind of strange when they went in, so
yeah.
Sometimes it just made them worse, but I think that anyone that did time in a war zone doesn't come back the same. They don't. You can't possibly come back the same. And no one that hasn't been there can relate to you because of the situation is.
It's a life or death.
Yeah, you don't know what's going to happen to you from 1 hour to the next, and especially at night. In my case, we drank, we smoked, we laughed, and hoped we make it through the morning.
Yeah. Did you ever visit the Vietnam Memorial in Washington D.C.?
No, but when they brought the moving memorial to Saginaw, I did some landscaping and put down a bunch of white rock so that they set it up. There was a nice white apron, if you will, to set it on.
Mm-hmm.
And I did visit it there, and I visited it a couple of times when it was the moving one, but never went to DC to the big one.
Do you want to go?
Well, I think it's pretty much the same as when I came.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Before Vietnam, I was at Arlington Cemetery, but it was on my senior trip from high school. I saw that and the Eternal Flame and the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier,
Mm-hmm.
all of those things.
Yeah.
It was, I had a situation where I got lost one night. I had a deuce and a half. And everybody said, don't go to Longswing, which was just outside of Canton.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, don't go to Longswing. And I found myself on a dike with this truck going down this dike. And I was in Longswing. I saw the sign. And the road was narrow. There wasn't really room. There was room for two vehicles to pass, but not really to turn a truck around.
Yeah.
And it was rice paddies. And I drove quite a ways before I finally got it turned around. And I came out of it unharmed, but it was very scary.
I bet.
Getting lost alone. People say, well, how can you do that? Well, I did it. It's very easy.
Yeah.
I just made a wrong turn and I was goofed up. We didn't have a TomTom or a GPS in the truck.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had those. They say people go AWOL. They didn't go AWOL. They just got lost. They just made a wrong turn.
And just couldn't get back.
You can do that very easily. Get caught in traffic and the rest of the trucks get away from you and you make a wrong turn and
You're done.
You're just gone.
Yeah.
And then it happens very easily.
Was it pretty frequent then that people would get lost?
Not frequent, but it happened. And when it did, sometimes it was not good for those involved.
Yeah. Did you learn any life lessons from the service in Vietnam?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you learn how to handle people and delegate, how to run of course, in my case, I had to handle duty rosters and budgets and yeah, it's there are life lessons in anything you do in life, but when you do it in a very regimented way like the Army is, you sometimes have to improvise to make things happen because the regulations won't let you do what you're
supposed to do.
Sometimes you have to do things.
Yeah. Well, that's all I got.
It's a little different in a combat zone than it is in stateside.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
The military is much different stateside than it is in combat zone.
I bet. Well,
that's it.
That's it.
All right. Well,
Just